oblivious and happily cramming the rest of his biscuit in his mouth. He turned to me, his hand held out expecting me to give him mine since I didn't always eat it. He gawked at my red-stained mouth and my cheek, already starting to bruise. How'd that happen? Without turning around, I pointed over my shoulder at Mama. He looked at her through the screen door, cleaning up biscuit crumbs off the floor. Without a word, he jumped off the back steps, went to the swings, and started swinging, staring at me, shaking his head. He figured I'd done something wrong. I went down the back steps to the far end of the yard where the sandbox was, sucking on my swollen lip and touching my throbbing cheek. For the rest of the day, I stayed in the yard swatting at flies that seemed attracted to my mouth and feeling miserable. I refused to go in to get a drink or eat, and Mama didn't make me. When Daddy came home, I ran up to his car. He got out and I gazed up at him, knowing by the way my face felt how it must look. He squatted down and grabbed my shoulders, looking in alarm from my cheek to my lip. Dixie, what in the hell happened to you? Mama socked me in the face. She did what? He asked, disbelief in his voice. I looked over at the kitchen door and my heart skipped a beat. She stood there staring, and I could see she was still not herself. Her eyes jumped out at me through the screen door like they were going to burn me. I could hear her voice in my head saying, "Shut your mouth," while her fingers fluttered against her leg in a strange manner I'd never seen, tapping to a rhythm only she could hear. I tore my gaze away, looking anywhere but at that screen door. Daddy looked at Mama, a vein pulsing in his forehead. He said in a tone that wouldn't stand any arguing, "Go play with your brother." AJ was digging in the dirt beside the sandbox, and I ran over to him. When I looked back, Daddy was walking fast toward the house, arms swinging, fists clenched. I worried. What's he gonna do? He went inside, slamming the screen door and yelling, "Evie!" even though she stood right there. She backed up, and then he blocked her from view. The anger in his voice as he yelled made me feel vindicated, yet afraid. There was a thump, an unpredicted sound that made me stare toward the house. I heard it again, and then again. It was bad enough knowing what it was, but the silence while the beating went on was the worst. What would Mama think of me now? She would hate me, I was sure of it. I turned and ran toward the back of the yard again, away from the dull sound of his fists on her body. I put my hands over my ears and waited. The thought of him beating on Mama on account of me made me sorry I'd said anything, and I wondered when these blows would stop. She crept round us the rest of that evening, refusing to look at anyone. Her face was like mine, like Daddy wanted her to know how it felt. She put supper on the table, but when she sat down, she only pushed the food around on her plate and didn't eat. I ate because I was starving, despite my lips splitting all over again as soon as I took a bite. I had to keep dabbing it with a napkin, but it didn't stop me from cramming food in. Daddy sat at the table, head in his hands, perhaps sorry he'd done it. But then he'd see me dab at my mouth and he'd look at Mama, angry all over again. She refused to meet that look. After we went to bed, I heard them arguing. Mama cried. "Why did you call and tell your mother, for God's sake? There is no need to involve your family. She's just a kid, and if you didn't do it, how'd it happen?" "I don't know how it happened." I was sitting up in bed, about to write in my diary, and I caught my breath at Mama's out-and-out lie. Why would she lie? What she said made me more nervous than when Daddy hit her. It grew quiet, and after a minute, I wrote, "Mama lied about what she did. Is she scared of Daddy?" A couple days later, I stood in front of her.